Hi everyone, Liza here with some tips for those of you who are applying to Dartmouth Tuck. Its first essay question is a quintessential career statement essay. Tuck is asking why you are pursuing an MBA, why now, and why Tuck. All very valid questions and questions that, quite frankly, you should be able to answer. So when you are approaching this question, the big thing I want you to remember is you don't get points for having a unique answer to this question, really. What you do get points for, there's no points in this process, but what you do get points for is really having a good understanding of where have you been, how it relates to where you are headed, and how Tuck is the missing piece. And really doing your research and identifying rich resources at Tuck you will take advantage of to close the gap between where you've been and where you're headed. So pointing out some really rare class just because no one else knows about it, that's not important. But making a case that you can leverage Tuck-specific resources to reach your goals is very important. The second piece is that Tuck is really asking about what specifically you like about Tuck. This is going to require a lot of research, really of thinking what kind of environment you thrive in, and then making the case that Tuck offers that environment. So thinking about clubs, the community in Hanover, the things that you'll get involved in, folks that you've spoken to, all of these might make an appearance in this essay. One final tip as you work on this first essay prompt, once you have done a draft, imagine you are the admissions reader. And are you, as the reader, learning more about Tuck than you are about the applicant, who is you? If so, you're missing the mark. Remember, really, you have to reveal who you are as much as any information and any research about Tuck, because ultimately the school is deciding whether or not to admit you. They're already fans of the school. That's essay number one. For Tuck's second essay question, this one is my favorite. This one is really, tell us who you are. It's a rather open-ended prompt, giving you the choice of what experiences, values, characteristics, wins, failures, whatever it might be, that have really shaped who you are. My strategies for this essay are as follows. Number one, really think about, okay, what makes you you, and think about the examples that really demonstrate it. So in other words, your essay is going to miss the mark if you simply describe yourself. I am somebody who is really warm and welcoming. I have lots of friends. I'm always empathetic. That's a lot to tell, and there's no proof points. But if you ground it with a story about either how you became this warm, welcoming person, or times when that's really mattered, really when you've really channeled that trait of yours to create change, that showing those sorts of examples or influences are going to be much stickier in the mind of the reader as they're reading your application essay. So keep that in mind. The second one is, don't be afraid to show multiple sides of who you are. Often people might think, oh, I need to go down this angle and only show how warm and welcoming I am. But remember, you're multifaceted, so don't be afraid to show something completely different. Maybe you are really excited by a pastime that you have and are curious and learning about getting to be a better and better, you name it, hockey player, knitter, speaking a new language, whatever it might be. That's very different than warm and welcoming, but both have a place in this essay. Again, lead with the examples, make sure that you've got the proof points to really showcase this trait or whatever it is you want to tell them about, that you can showcase it in action. And my last tip for this is, don't worry about trying to make the case of like, oh, and this is how this is going to fit in at Tuck. That's really not what they're asking. They're asking you to share with them who you are. Don't waste words trying to fit in. And this is why I'm going to join the hockey club, or this is why I am going to be a big mentor in the women's business club. That's not what they're asking. So that final test as you read your essay draft, this should be essentially all about you and really substantiated through stories and examples, because that's going to help you stay sticky in the mind of the reader long after they've read your application. The last prompt of Tuck's MBA application asks you to share a time when you've invested in someone else's success, when you've gotten no benefit. You know, Number one, you should take away from this that Tuck is really interested in people that go beyond themselves to make the world around them a better place, and it's not just focused on themselves. So if you don't have a story, it might actually mean that Tuck isn't the right school for you. But I would challenge that. I bet you do have the stories. You just might have to dig far to see them. And maybe you have ample examples. But really what is important is times when you might have stretched yourself beyond what you were tasked to do, beyond what you were told to do, but something you saw an opportunity to do that you wanted to do. Tuck tees up that they want to hear from you about the results, why you did it, what motivated you. I love that because I think my biggest strategy for this essay prompt is to use the STAR format. So situation, okay, what was going on, the context, what was the task, like what did you seek to do? The actions, that's the A in the STAR format, that what did you actually do to get it done? And what was in your mind as you chose those different actions? And then giving proper due to the results. So what happened? What was the results? And then lastly, is my second R there, the reflection. And this is really important to really think about, okay, what does all this mean to you? Why is this a meaningful story? But that, if you think about the STAR format, that will help you create a story that again is quite sticky in the reader's mind long after they finish your application. Reach out to us and check out our resources if you need any more guidance on the career statement, writing stories, or even how to structure that tell me about who you are essay. Those are tough ones, and we are happy to help.